The genocide accusations against South Africa seem to be spreading, with the UK leader joining the mix. Here's what happened. So over the past few months, we know that US President Donald Trump has taken issue with the terrible things that are going on in South Africa. While many people are claiming that he believes there to be a white genocide, he's never actually uttered those words, rather instead raising concern about the treatment of minorities, the race-based laws in the country, and of course farm murders. Now, although a lot of people in South Africa may support him and others oppose what he is saying, it's very clear that the genocide narrative actually seems to be spreading, with some in the UK joining Trump's narrative. Specifically, the person who is most likely to be the UK's next Prime Minister, Nigel Farage. But before we get into Farage's latest interview, could I please remind you to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already? It's completely free and all you have to do is hit the subscribe button below the video. Furthermore, if you would like to support the channel and enjoy some additional perks, consider becoming a Power Club member. You can do so by clicking the join button below. Now let's get into it. So a few days ago, IOL was able to get an interview with Nigel Farage, who is running to become the UK's next Prime Minister. So as explained here, in a short interview with IOL, British politician Nigel Farage says US President Donald Trump is the only global leader brave enough to openly speak about what is described as problems in South Africa. Farage spoke to IOL on the sidelines of the World Economic Forum in Davos, Switzerland. Farage said Trump's willingness to publicly confront the issue set him apart from other world leaders who he claimed preferred silence or caution. You know it's a problem, I know it's a problem, but he's actually calling it out, Farage said. Using the word genocide in any context is problematic, but it is a problem. And so ultimately, what Farage is saying here is that, yes, he doesn't necessarily agree that genocide is the correct term for the situation, but he does support what Trump is saying, that there are these problems in South Africa that need to be addressed. Now, some people might argue, oh, well, Farage isn't that important. He isn't Prime Minister at the moment. But for those who follow British politics closely, he could become the next leader of the UK. And in that sense, he will be able to put pressure onto South Africa. So YouGov has been conducting regular election polling ahead of the UK's next election. And what's really important to understand is that Farage right now is the leader of Reform UK. And this is a right-wing political party that seems to not only be overtaking the traditional Conservative Party, but others as well. So as we can see from this YouGov poll from the 7th to the 8th of December of 2025, Reform UK seems to be running away with the election with 27% of the vote. Then they only happen to be followed by Labour at 19%, Conservatives at 18%, the Green Party at 15%, the Lib Dems at 14%, Scottish National Party at 3%, followed by others. And what's really interesting about this is the fact that in the UK, you don't have proportional representation in the same way that you do in South Africa. In a lot of the voting districts, they use a first past the poll system, where it really is the winner who takes all. And so if Reform continues on their current trajectory, we could see an absolute wipeout in the next election, where Nigel Farage is indeed crowned as the UK's next Prime Minister. Now, this whole situation has a very important lesson to teach the South African government. You see, soon after the October 7th massacre by Hamas in Israel, the SA government decided to take Israel to the ICJ for an accusation of genocide. Of course, this is an accusation that seemed quite strange at the time because Israel only happened to go into Gaza a couple of weeks after the attacks happened, and the ANC's case against Israel in the ICJ was launched in December, where the death toll wasn't nearly as high as what it is today. Now, of course, the ANC may have thought this to be a clever election ploy. Of course, this was before the GNU came into power. But what is important to understand here is that when you decide to go in front of the world on the international stage and present yourself, you need to be thinking about what you're presenting. You see, the ANC thought, oh, we're going to be these world leaders, but they forgot. They've run the country of South Africa into the ground, where there is sky-high unemployment, economic growth straddling 1%, and of course, enormous crime, the likes of which far outpaces the death rate in Gaza. Naturally, when the likes of Donald Trump, the United States as a whole, and other Western allies who are aligned with Israel see South Africa decide to take Israel to the ICJ, they're not going to be very happy. And so when it came to the proliferation of the white genocide narrative in South Africa, it's absolutely no surprise that these sorts of people who are angry with the ANC decided to jump on the bandwagon. And so the next time that they decide to do something like this on the international stage, they really should think twice. Still, I doubt that they ever will. But given that, I say go ahead, because the more that the ANC continues down this path, the more that its support will continue to plummet. Thank you very much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it and you found it informative, please remember to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Until next time, I'm Matthew Cohen, and this is the Power Pod.